Welcome back, guys. After having covered the quick and dirty finals against Antis yesterday, I got kind of motivated and I've decided to cover this season of the Royal League. It's the two-player league organized by Wolves, and in front of you, you see the participants of the league. It's the first division, Emperor Division, and we can see that it is the literally best players out there in this league. We have Weidenbaum, who is ranked, actually the first two-player. He has the highest two-player ranking of all players, followed by Martin Pischer, PV4 on 4, Zaru on 6, myself on 7, Gross on 8, and then there's Gilgamesh on 26. And it's kind of interesting to see how well apparently the glicko rating predicts performance. Just an interesting side note, because it's literally the top 10 plus Gilgamesh who managed to enter the highest league, and they are all in the highest division of the two-player league. And my first game will be against Weidenbaum, actually. So if you remember, I have been a guest on his channel recently. We played the second division against each other last season, and I managed to win this game very, very closely, a bit luckily maybe in the end. Had Fortuna on my side, somewhat at least, I would say, in that game. And this is the rematch. He also he ended up second place. I managed to win that group and he ended up second place. So we both proceeded to the first league, the first tier of the league. And let's start with the game, I would say. If I find the button. Yeah, here we are. I am in first position. And in this row, I decided to go for the pyramids. We can quickly take a look. There's no Suez Canal. And I think the pyramids is more or less the auto pick here, actually. No compelling reason not to take it. I will still get a good leader, depending on what he does. Okay, they will always be on 2. Not too much to discuss, actually. That pyramids pick is more or less forced. And it's actually maybe a bit interesting to see what he does. Does he take Colossus? Does he take leader plus urban growth? Does he just take the EG? I think it's not the best Colossus game, so I probably wouldn't do that. I think Boudica and urban growth looks good. EG could also be good. There's not the best HA wonders left though. Stone Age Colosseum, not the best. And then H1 wonders are actually pretty good, I would say. So taking EG is also an option in my book. Taking EG and then later Confucius or Cleopatra, what's left. Yeah. Let's see. It's Boudica growth. Yeah. Relatable decision. That leaves me the EG, actually. And we see here already, because I was too late to pause, that it's a somewhat interesting decision that I make. It's picking Cleopatra over Confucius. Now, in yesterday's video, if you remember, I did it, but there Cleopatra was on 1 versus Confucius or 2. That's an easier decision, and it's still not that clear, I think, in a two-player game. And here I pick it for 2 civil actions versus Confucius for 2. And I do that because it allows me, with this turn, can build a mine and take the EG. I don't have to play her, won't do anything this turn, since I'm not going for the lab. That allows me to finish the pyramids. And if we take a look again, there is Darwin Bach, no Shakespeare, Dietrich, and a lot of, as I mentioned, good H1 wonders. So finishing the pyramids does 2 things. It delays the science income, but I am flexible to still play printing press, and it's a decent printing press game, not a perfect printing press game, but decent. And it also enables me, if good wonder drops, to freely go for it and make more use of Cleopatra. So I decided to go with this. Even going for a Stonehenge after the pyramids would be an interesting option here. Weidenbaum elects Boudica here, goes for the philosophy, populates, and takes the rich land. Yeah. And now there are a lot of great cards here on 2 civil actions. And since there are 3 very good cards here, I decide to take no card here and let him decide what he wants to take. If I don't take anything, at least chances are that I will get the Code of Laws actually. Or I will get something for 1 civil action, and he can decide what he wants. The Code of Law stays on 2 like this. Let's play out the turn first. It's finishing the pyramids, and what do I do in the end? I don't even know. Probably I have 1 civil action left, just the rich land or cultural heritage. Populate. Yeah, of course, populate. Yeah, like this. I would expect him to take Iron and Saladin and not be able to also take Code of Laws. Or he could maybe do that, but that's also maybe a bit awkward. And then he spends his entire turn, and I'm still okay with that probably. I will then get Alchemy or something that drops here. So yeah, if there are so many good cards on 2, I think it's ill-advised to think, okay, the Code of Law is the card that I pay 2 for now because it's that much better. It's unclear, so I think not touching anything and just doing your thing is probably the better choice. And I have drawn Good Harvest Vast Territory. I wasn't willing to seed any of those. Vast Territory is too swingy. Good Harvest, bit unclear maybe. And I didn't have a population free. He did, so I think that was the deciding reason not to seed. Missing out on the free religion can set you back quite a bit actually. And it wouldn't have improved my turn to, I don't know, reveal a development of civil life or something like that. So I think not seeding was the correct choice here. Okay, now we can be curious what Weidenbaum decides to do here. He does seed an event first. Development of markets is revealed, and he goes for the iron, goes for Saladin, elects Saladin, takes the Stonehenge. No other wonder has dropped, so Stonehenge drops. Helps him having science. He already has the iron in hand, and it will be interesting to see what happens to this monarchy. Do I have time to take it? If with this Stonehenge pick, I think it's very important for me to take it away, so will be interesting to see. I start with not seeding again. Building the lab. I don't see a printing press here yet. I indeed do take the monarchy. I don't want him to get it so early with this extra science from the Stonehenge, and I also take the Code of Laws. So with both of these techs, I will be, and the pyramids, I will be in a good civil action position. So this is covered for the game more or less. And also a good thing happened here. The H1 wonders dropped, and maybe arguably the best wonder for me in this situation, the Universitas, in a situation where he can't take it, since he took the Stonehenge. But yeah, it's probably understandable that he did. I maybe wouldn't have actually, but it's definitely understandable. Okay, what's the last selection here? Populate. I have to get out of corruption. Yeah, and I can still populate next turn. And this is probably the reason why I wasn't willing to see it again, since some of the impacts would have meant corruption. Weidenbaum goes for the iron. Had enough science without needing to build a step, so he can actually upgrade twice, and that's a very good start. He also gets a breakthrough on one and populates. Yeah, that's a very good start. Early iron is always yeah, pretty good. This time I do seed. I think it was the good harvest, but I'm sadly not that certain if that was what I kept. Development of Warfare is revealed. I can use it. I can take the Universitas and build 2 stages. And yeah, again, in this game, I'm kind of happy to have chosen Cleopatra, and she has already offered a lot of value. And I think it was the right decision to go for Cleopatra over Confucius here. What do you think? It feels correct. It's already given me 1, 2, 3, 4 rocks? 3 or 4? 1 rock every turn since I elected her. Weidenbaum seeds again. Development of settlement is revealed. He also gets the free warrior, builds 3 stages of the Stonehenge. Maybe wants to be able to take this castle, so he skips an upgrade in favor of building those stages. If he did upgrade, he could have only built 1, if I see that correct. And then taking this castle would be a bit awkward. Last selection is taking this patriotism. Yeah. Frugality will likely not do anything. At some point, the patriotism can have some value if you want to build 1 or 2 units or upgrade those 2 swordsmen. I did not see it. I finished the Universitas here. And what's the rest of the turn actually? Probably go for the Code of Laws. And I have to make a decision here. There's sadly no iron yet. Do I want to swap to another leader maybe? Genghis Khan is actually possible. There's Eleanor with the vast in hand. But there's also what is left here. Yeah, there's after this only Barbarossa. But I don't have to do it now. I could wait for Eleanor next turn. And I have to make the decision, do I still want to take this castle? I will have another turn with Cleopatra. But I don't have that many rocks, so that decision is not that obvious, I think. But in the end, I went for it. I did take the castle here, developed Code of Laws, and did take knights in hand. I have the Reign of Terror in hand. I have Phalanx in hand. I have no information what he seeded. He might have sneaked 1 or 2 strength events in. It's not that likely, but it's always possible. So those knights in hand, and maybe if taking Urban Grove wouldn't put Eleanor out of the game, I might have considered that. But here I settled for the knights for those reasons. The alchemy could have been an option, but I'm already at +4 science. And I think this covers me until H3. Alchemy would have been the option maybe if I didn't go for the castle. So then those upgrades would still happen with the Cleopatra. Maybe it's actually something I could have considered to do here. Going for the alchemy also looks good. I decided for the castle because he has iron, he's well set up. I think the castle is a good wonder in 2-player. And you could do it quite efficiently. There's also this EG, which I might hope to get, although he probably will take it. Yeah, many different options here. Not certain if taking this castle is correct, but I thought, okay, I have this Reign of Terror, the tactic. Maybe I can be a bit annoying and put some strength events in. Now, I guess I still have to decide. Yeah, I also play the tactic and then get rid of the Reign of Terror. Okay, but I draw the border conflict. I didn't want to commit to it, I guess. Yeah, maybe I should. It feels a little awkward in hindsight, but I still wanted to be able maybe to play this vast territory and bid a Phalanx for it, possibly. Yeah. Weidenbaum upgrades iron, takes EG, finishes the wonder, and takes a rich land. And here, I think I do decide then to seed the border conflict. Yes. So I did decide to go for the Phalanx now. I couldn't finish the wonder. And we have seeded 2 of those events. I think the Good Harvest and now the border conflict. No information about his events. He does have that extra happy face and Saladin's potential strength. So there could be maybe a strength event from him also. It's not that certain. I thought it's somewhat efficient to build those knights now and go for the Phalanx. Yeah, but looking back, I'm not that certain if that's the right call. Let's see what I still do. I use that rock then for religion, because I also have no information about rebellion. Maybe it's a bit questionable what I'm doing here with this knight, to be honest. Yeah, but I'm going for Eleanor and I want to be able to see the events. It's maybe the reasoning. And then it's a little more convenient if you are not super weak, or especially weaker than your opponent. But what I don't really like about this is that it makes it really hard to build this wonder here in the near future. So maybe not seeding. Yeah, but that's also a weird game state. If I didn't seed, then I could also again only keep 2, and then I play Eleanor, and then I'm stuck in a position where it doesn't feel too good to seed. And like this, I think, okay, at least he has to invest a lot to get stronger. Yeah, close call. I'm not certain if that's the right game plan here. My last civil action was, second to last civil action was taking rich land and then populate. Yeah, at least it forces Weidenbaum now to take knights for 2. It more or less forces him. He has the phalanx, the other copy of the phalanx tactic actually. Right, he didn't, yeah, he played it himself. So he ties strength and then he populates and takes breakthrough. Doesn't take printing press. And now I have the choice between barbarians and vast territory, and I don't actually remember. What do I decide here? Vast territory. Yeah, with Eleanor, that's probably very reasonable to go for that with Eleanor. Reds are revealed. I already draw this colonization card on the first attempt, which is kind of good. Reds are revealed, both lose 2 signs. I go for the rifleman for 3 here. Because it's a way to get stronger, I guess. So I spent my entire turn on getting stronger. Play cultural heritage. Take this drama in hand because I don't have any rock income and it's a very good drama game. We have Bach Dietrich in the game. So yeah. I think those riflemen were kind of important in this game state. But it again might be a bit questionable. Since we see one thing, this castle is not going to be finished very soon. I have 0+3 and it costs 9 rocks. The ocean liner already dropped. I'm not going to take it, so he's getting it for free in this game state. So in hindsight, maybe not the best decision. But yeah, Ocean Liner being the literally first card in the deck is also maybe not that great for me in this situation. And yeah, Rifleman for 3. Hoping to generate rocks with the border conflict. Which, yeah, there was no great way to contest without this, I guess. He didn't take strength, by the way, with Saladin, which more or less indicates that he didn't put the strength event in there himself. Okay. Keep the colonization card and the civil unrest. I want to be able to seed with Eleanor. Draw a spy. Weidenbaum takes irrigation here and the Cybrid. And that is something that I honestly didn't see in my turn at all. Okay, I couldn't actually see it because the Cybrid wasn't even in the deck yet, but now he completely blocked me on food. I'm not going to get this Ocean Liner thanks to this wonder. There is a statue, but I don't have rock income. Will be very hard to build this and then take a statue and build that. And yeah, he just successfully blocked me on foot with the Cybrid deny. But at least I have the vast territory in there and Eleanor. So it's not that unreasonable for me to win this vast territory. So I have something going on against this food block. But I think in this situation it's actually very interesting and a good decision to do that. Probably a good decision. I mean, in the end, we can see how it turns out. he doesn't have that information that I already have the vast territory in there. Maybe he wouldn't do it if he knew it. But I think it's still, considering his perspective, it's still probably, maybe worth to do that. Did he have to actually text irrigation, place breakthrough, develops irrigation? Yeah, okay. He doesn't even plan to go for the Celebrate himself. Yeah. So settles for the irrigation with the ocean liner service. That's why he develops that and not the Celebrate. Okay. Does he get stronger than me is an interesting question. He is not going to get stronger. He could have been very annoying here, built a knight and taken the Saladin strength, and then he would be stronger, and I think I would cry a bit. Because losing this border conflict feels very, very bad. But of course he doesn't have that information, what events are in there. And it costs a lot to give up the civil action and commit to this knight now. So he chose not to do that. Which means I will definitely cede. I would have probably still ceded, even into this border conflict. But like this, definitely civil unrest is not even that good for me, but I have to use Eleanor here, I feel. And what is revealed? The good harvest, so we did see that. I'm left with 2 very awkward food now. That's very annoying. No idea how to get rid of those until I maybe win this vast territory. It's the worst. Only 3 would be worse. Then avoiding corruption becomes very difficult. Yeah, at least it makes the reserves population possible. Here I decide to go for coal actually. I have a rage land in hand, it's a very early coal. If I could have gone for iron this turn, I might have just done that, but since I can't, I think just going for the coal is reasonable. And I also go for Bach for 3 here. Because if we look, Darwin is not really a good option for me since I have that religion. Gaudi could be an option later, but I think Bach is just, with the drama into Marlene Dietrich, is just the best leader here. I have a lot of civil actions. And yeah, I could have taken a rich land for 2, but timing-wise, I think it's quite nice to go for, maybe I actually just go for it now. Yes, it's that great transition turn with Eleanor. I can just go for him and still take the rich land. So I'm not missing out on that. And the last civil action is upgrading that warrior. So he doesn't have that option. He could still go for that option where he gets stronger than me. I want to stay stronger. I didn't have the border conflict. And yeah, I want to make certain to stay stronger. I can still upgrade coal next turn. So I'm not missing out on that. So I think the opportunity cost of upgrading this is quite okay. I probably get rid of the aggressions. They are not going to happen. My last civil action is for efficiency's sake. There's nothing here, so I just developed the drama, something I always want to do here. Weidenbaum decides not to cede, takes the ocean liner service, takes the cannons, does build a knight now, builds a temple, and starts building the wonder. Takes corruption. Yeah, I would have to look closer if it was available. I guess if it was possible to avoid corruption reasonably, he would have, so apparently not possible. He did use the EG, but probably not using it would also not avoid it, so that's his turn. I think it looks pretty good for him now. He has this early ocean liner. Next turn it will be finished. It's a little maybe interesting that he decided to build the knight now. not last turn, but I guess it's a reaction to my push, actually. He has to defend an aggression, and he still doesn't want to use Saladin for strength. Maybe it shows that he didn't have a defense card, so this defense and aggression. Maybe that's the reason for the knight. And now we see that, yeah, one of the... okay, and that was the reason for the religion. He did have an immigration in there, and he wins it like this, and that makes a huge difference. Actually, a bit unlucky. I just saw I could have participated in that in a game where you are blocked on foot. That's a huge difference. Then I go for the cold here. What did we seed actually? Damn, my memory. Yeah, we seeded something. I'm not entirely sure what was it. Maybe I will remember it later. We kept the... because this is new, right? It's not that unimportant in this game, but okay. We will find out later. Rich land. Coal. Take Urban Grove. I need yellow cards here. It's a bit lucky that there's a breakthrough here, Urban Grove. Sometimes you have all those civil actions and then there's only technologies and you desperately need those yellow cards. And here we do get access to them. It's a pretty good turn. I still take the cavalryman in hand here. I already have the knights, but the cavalryman helped for h3 tactics and I didn't have a very compelling reason, I think, to take this organized religion instead, and yeah, nothing else to do with my last civil action. I want to fix my happiness with this. It is the first copy of organized religion. Maybe later on you can still take it as a safety measure. I guess it's a close decision between cavalryman and organized religion here. I do see draw another colonization card, which is nice. Weidenbaum has a good drop here. The constitutional monarchy is probably what he wants to play anyway. And he immediately takes it, develops it. And then he, interestingly, doesn't finish the ocean liner. He goes for Gaudi instead. And yeah, Anthony Gaudi also probably just looks better here than Darwin. The journalism is still in, but he doesn't know if he gets access to that. And he also has this religion, so waiting for Darwin can feel a bit awkward, and Gaudi will just be pretty nice with this setup. He can probably still take this team spot in hand here, which he does, yes. And last selection probably just do this. Yeah, you can still hope for the architecture to finish this in one go. So I understand why not a stage of that, but an upgrade here. Also produce some food. But again, corruption. So he did have this early ocean liner, and somehow it turned out to not be easily possible to just build it. I do see the strength event, international... Is it international negotiations? Yes, right? Yes. Not agreement. And I think it was the civil unrest, now I remember. The other card should be the civil unrest. Or was it earlier? We will see, we will see. Finally win the border conflict, which is pretty important. And we have this bug. We have to get out of the game, actually, I think. And where were we? 7? Not that far away. It's actually correct. Yeah, win the border conflict, and now What do we do here? Yeah, probably just upgrade another coal. And now it's interesting, do I want or have to take the strategy for 3? Probably. It's not that obvious since he doesn't have that much science and he already is the conman, so the value of the strategy drops a bit, maybe, compared to if he had a republic now. So maybe it's not that obvious if I have to spend 3 civil actions here for that, because there's also a lot of other good cards here. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that, right? And then I start to remember doing this turn. Richland, coal, build a theater, then this Reverdeer looks very juicy, this navigation looks very juicy, yeah. All those cards are more or less mandatory. This navigation very good with the vast territory in. So I can sadly not develop it now. So the territory might be revealed before this, but I'm well prepared for this with all these units and the 2 colonization cards. He also had only 2 cards for a long time. And now is an interesting decision, I think. He already has the cannons. Do I have to take the cannons or do I take breakthrough here? And my first intuition here was taking the breakthrough because he has huge science problems. It's more or less his only problem. And even for me, this card will be very good with all the techs that I want to develop now, especially the navigation. I still have to develop this monarchy, maybe. Maybe I also skip it and wait for Republic if I get access to the strategy, or just an H3 government. It's unclear, but probably I will still just go for it. And then it's navigation, monarchy, possibly strategy. Yeah, this breakthrough is just an insanely good card. But missing out on the cannons can lose some games, I guess. I was thinking like, okay, am I desperate enough to do this breakthrough turn, or do I do the save turn? Because taking the cannons is the save turn. I think taking breakthrough is the obviously better value turn, but taking cannons is the safer turn, maybe. Because if he has mobile artillery and then decides to start going aggressive here with his 4 MA, can still take strategy on top. And he also doesn't need that much science. He only has to develop cannon and maybe get access to 1 Reverdeer in H3 and then still get the strategy out. And then he just starts spamming mobile artilleries, and I can't really compete with my phalanx here. I could also draw a classical army, but that's a could, right? Yeah, so I decided to go for the more stable turn here and take cannons, but I'm honestly not certain if that's correct. Maybe in this game state, it kind of screams. Yeah, my first intention said take the breakthrough, and then I talked myself into taking the cannons. We can evaluate in 3, 4, 5 turns if that was the right decision. I'm very uncertain about it. Keep the 2 colonization cards and draw 2 events. It's nice that I can seed. I want to possibly seed. Maybe even strength events depending on what he does. I can choose to play the less impactful one. You can sometimes just seed this and deal with losing that. Or depending on if he starts to go greedy, I can also maybe even seed the refugees. After I've taken this, I might be well prepared actually. I still build this wonder probably. I might be well prepared to win it. So yeah, we will see. He goes for the ocean liner. will be interesting to see if he does take the strategy. He populates with the Oceaner, elects Gaudi, takes the breakthrough, obviously, goes for team sports, builds it, and plays the patriotism, builds a warrior, and yeah, that was his turn already. So interestingly, no scientific method. Rather wanted to still spend the rocks of the patriotism, build the 3 warrior. It makes him stronger actually, so there could be a strength event here. And yeah, no time and science for strategy. And I think it is the first copy of Opera. No, it is the second copy, but yeah, it is an option for me now to take it away. But I already have drama, H3 starts. I will probably not have the time to take it away. Okay, let's see what we decide to play here. I'm not entirely certain. Probably the crime wave. Oh, nothing. I decide to go for the navigation first, actually, and then go for this monarchy. It means I can keep 3 cards, and yeah, maybe I wasn't entirely convinced that I just win the vast territory like this, so still wanted the monarch, the thing here in first. The navigation. I still get the efficient upgrade to take the strategy and finish the wonder. I think it will still have value for a possible war. He could still go aggressive, so he hasn't really shown his direction yet that much. He built the pro spot. He cannot develop cannon now, but he can still start to go aggressive, or he can go for the civil route. He's set up for both directions, I would say. I keep the refugees, actually. But I also had 3 draws, so I just kept the higher impact event, and it's unclear whether it will be this or one of those. He seeds, reveals the vast territory, and I'm willing to bid 8. He was willing to bid 7. That's a rifleman and a colonization card for me, and 7 might mean actually a phalanx and no defense cards. It kind of smells like it, which would be super good for me. And yeah, since it's not here, I remember there being another vast territory in. So that is the event that I missed. Was a bit lucky to even draw the vast 2 and also be able to seed that in this game state where he went for the foot block. I guess it helped quite a lot actually to get those territories. I mean, first of all, this vast territory and this vast 2. I don't even know if I'm going to win this, but it's an asymmetric value. It's a lot more valuable for me than for the ocean liner service player, so that always goes in. I mean, especially after getting this navigation, and maybe actually it means he didn't have defense cards, because I can imagine him bidding this plus cards. Yeah. Or maybe he also didn't think it's worth to bid an entire army. Could also be. Could also be dangerous a bit, maybe even very expensive, to having to be rebuilt a lot of the military here. But there's a wave. I think he would have. I would be interested in his perspective here, what he was willing to bid, if he had defense cards and just wasn't willing to bid them. So he goes for the opera here, bids an opera. Yeah, and we see the power of the breakthrough for him. That is the worst part. Not that much that I didn't get it for me. It would still be very good for me, but he would be on 0+2 now with this turn, and now he's on 3+2, which is a lot more playable since he is Gaudi especially. And he still takes wave reserves. Here, no signs for justice system or architecture, or at least not for 2 or 3 civil actions. And yeah, here I decided, I knew it was in, but I decided I want to seed, gamble maybe a bit. I'm not entirely certain if there was a good turn for me where I could get stronger. I mean, I could have built a rifleman. Yeah, but delaying seeding and then building the rifleman, he can get stronger then again maybe, and then I'm stuck in not being able to seed while I want to seed into those colonies or that colony and maybe a potential colony from him. So I decided, let's just go for it. And at least if I reveal it, I can choose what I give. And what did I give? I gave rocks, because if somehow the game state ends up being he has a wave also, right? That he can choose it, he can steal signs from me, and that would be a lot worse. So yeah, I just took the gamble. In some game states, I think I still win it if I don't reveal it now, get stronger. He decides to see it, then I'll just win it maybe. Yeah, we go for religion into drama. I take the architecture. Still don't have one tech here, no masonry. Architecture might still work for me. Might be hard to build a wonder without the architecture. We can quickly take a look. There's red cross. I'm not well set up for that now, but maybe in future actually I am with this vast territory. And or maybe food tech will drop at some point, and then it's hard to build that. Also building the internet is really hard without architecture, fast food chains. Yeah, and depending on what he does, and this opera looks like he might want to just contest it culturally. It is just a high impact card for both of us, so I take that. And then Grove for 3. And here is maybe, I'm not certain if that's correct. So there's a journalism here, which is insanely good for him still. But it's also a bit expensive. All those buildings cost 8 rocks, journalism and operas, and he's only on +6. So without architecture, this Grove has high value. But maybe he can still just go for the journalism and it's still insanely good for him. I did consider having to cut that. But I thought then he just gets the Grove and a multimedia drop, and then he builds a multimedia and he's even happier. So it was a tough decision here. Yeah, even if I decide to go for journalism, he might also still just go for a scientific method to go for some science income. It's also very efficient here, right? And then with the efficient upgrades, yeah, overall, maybe that's the correct call to get this growth for 3. It also helps me to build those high impact buildings here, movies, multimedia, possibly. Get rid of the aggression. I draw another colonization card, which is very good. And then impact of balance and impact of architecture. And here, Weidenbaum decides to be extremely annoying and play a plunder, which I can always defend. I have enough MA. No, okay, thank God. But I had to decide whether I want to play a colonization card, a defense card, or keep my hand. And I decided to get rid of the events those strength events were too swingy for my taste. I was not entirely certain if I'm going to be in the position where I'm going to win them. And then I had to decide between impact of balance and architecture. And impact of balance right now is horrible because I have only 2 food income. It might be good later, but I'm not entirely certain. Especially if I win this vast territory, it might never happen that I upgrade the food here. So I thought, yeah, architecture also doesn't look that great, but maybe it's not that swingy of an impact. But it was quite annoying to having to make this decision, and maybe in hindsight I should have just paid that colonization card. But yeah, then again, there's this vast territory there somewhere. I think in the next deck though, or is it in this? Of that I'm not that certain. Yeah, this is unclear, pretty unclear. Yeah, it was very annoying. Good play. I think not many players would just play this aggression. Maybe it didn't have anything better to do also. Nothing to see it, but still, it was a very good aggression here. Yeah, Weidenbaum indeed does go for this journalism and builds it and takes the movies in hand actually. So maybe for himself, maybe a bit of a counter pick because it also, yeah, I'm on the coal. I have architecture in hand. I have Bach who helps me develop it with a discount. And then I don't have excessive food. So that's just a good option for me to generate more culture. We can look at the standings actually. Maybe try to evaluate the situation a bit. So he's on 37 plus 12 and I'm on 55 plus 11. So I have a bit of a lead here. But also he has infinite people and I don't. And selection wise I'm a bit ahead. Science wise is equal now, and he has this potential with the journalisms. It's kind of open. And in these situations, yeah, it kind of feels like he's maybe a bit ahead. The second player is generally a bit ahead in those somewhat tight games, I feel like, in a one-on-one. And yeah, also, he's already well prepared for a lot of impacts. And I think I would evaluate his position to be a bit better, but it's close. It's close. Let's see. Do I decide to seed that? I think I have to. There's the civil unrest. And I decided to go for the computers here, interestingly. Yeah. The leader that I want to play is Marlene Dietrich, but I might just not get her. And then the computers are pretty good with Gates and Einstein, and also Jobs for just playing him on the last turn maybe. They are good for the internet and maybe the Empire State Building, especially then with Gates. And I think he's just in a position where the computers would be awesome for him. He could develop them for very cheap here. So overall, I decided to go for it. And also upgrade 1. Take the efficient upgrades. Also maybe part of the reason why I went for it. If I went for the food here, I still take it in hand. Maybe I shouldn't even. But it's a safety measure for if I don't win the vast territory, I think. If I went for the food here, I would be stuck on very low science. On no science, basically. And +4 income only. And then all of a sudden, maybe it's hard to develop one of those, plus an air forces. I still want to develop the strategy at some point, maybe. Or architecture, yeah. Yeah, so that was the computer's decision. It's maybe a bit questionable. It also felt when I seeded the architecture, it felt bad to not have any options in hand now to also improve that impact of architecture, and this computer allows me that. Tough call. Not entirely convinced, but maybe I also don't have the best options here. Yeah, at some point there should have been the third drama. I was delaying that now for quite a long time. Yeah, it's hard to say, honestly, if those computers were correct, but maybe I think I give some valid reasons for it. Maybe I would do it again. I don't know. Maybe this macaque is questionable after the computers. Yeah, I mean, this computer helps me also. I think one of the reasons that I didn't mention is help me to be able to go for an H3 government, which might still be relevant. Yeah. There's this vast territory, so it was in that deck last card, and I do win it for a night only. So in hindsight, I could have used my colonization card, but that's just in hindsight. Yeah, Weidenbaum goes for another journalism, does take the fast food chains. It's probably the most stable wonder here. Isn't willing to wait for the internet. Isn't really set up for the Red Cross. So this will give him something like, yeah, I mean, with the Ocean Liner, it's probably 23, 24 culture for him. It's not that easy to say whether the internet is that much better. Now it's also opportunity cost. It's just here now, and waiting for the internet might also create a very swingy state where yeah, it's the only wonder left, and it's then just more or less a 50-50 who gets it, and he was probably confident enough in his position that he doesn't need that gamble, I guess, and settles for that, which means I will be able to go for the internet, possibly, or he somehow manages to build it and be prepared to take it. But my internet's also not that great here, right? I only have 2 dramas and a computer, and this isn't the best internet leaders here. So does decide to go for fast food chains. Plays reserves, takes civil service in hand. And yeah, all of a sudden his science income issues are gone. Gaudi produced a metric ton of value here with all the science discounts, and he has 2 journalisms now on +6 science and 14 culture income. And after this turn already, I would say he feels in a better position now than my position. And maybe I played a bit sloppy. I have a lot of cards here in hand that I never developed. I tend to do that, create some options for myself. Yeah, but ultimately, if you have cards in hand that you don't develop, then something's not optimal, at least. And here I also decide to go for the democracy, because I think if he gets it, I just lose. He will be able to go for it in the next turn, and like this I can at least go for 4 dramas. If I get Dietrich or even with Bach, it will be a good option for staying in the culture race, which I'm more or less already losing now. But it's also expensive again, huh? So still, I would think that democracy is correct. I can populate here. I get access to some population, so the macaque It's also, yeah, it's a bit awkward, but it wasn't that safe whether I get this territory and then I needed it, probably. Maybe also want to have the option for impacts and maybe for this one or maybe for this wonder. It were all options, but in the end I decided not to go for the red cross. Rather get some population out and stay in the urban building game. No time to take this Empire State building, but it will also be a bit unrealistic to make it really good. Or at least better than the internet. Will be very hard. Arms industry is revealed. I seeded that at some point. And Weidenbaum fixes his food, develops a civil service, goes for another lab for 8 rocks, and somehow it just works out without the architecture, without urban growth. Gets access to another reserve, so he's also another efficient upgrade. He's, yeah, it's a lot of value here in hand. Those efficient upgrades, they can still go into computers or all of those. Here's movies which he can upgrade. Multimedia, which he gets now. Gets rid of the wave of nationalism, which does nothing for hand space. Yeah. Looking good for him, I think. But it's still open. And prosperity is revealed. Did I seed that? Or did he seed that? I don't know. But it's better for me. Probably I seeded that. Democracy, the 4th theater. Maybe Gandhi is a consideration. Not this turn. This turn is not dangerous, but not that dangerous, but next turn could be dangerous depending on how he sets it up. He can go to a lot of strength actually. I do take... oh yeah, I remember this turn was so difficult. It looks a little awkward, right? To spend my entire turn to take the internet here when there's a lot of valuable cards here. There's reserves, urban growth. I think, yeah, my first intuition in this turn was like, okay, finally some yellow cards. I somehow didn't get that many yellow cards in this game. And then I saw, okay, he can just end the game then. And I think I just lose then. It will also be very hard to then still take internet and build it. I don't have science here for the architecture. So it was impossible if he ends the game, I think, to take and build it, and especially impossible to still also build some buildings. So it's not even that much culture. Yeah, and then I was left with a turn where I was allowed to take exactly one card from this row. And even then it wasn't that obvious to me, but yeah, after a while I settled for taking the internet. Yeah, which means he just gets another urban growth, this endowments, maybe even this reserves, maybe the rev idea, a lot of cards, military theory. I kind of had to do this, I guess, take this internet. Yeah, and somehow H3 felt super weird. I don't know if it's my decisions that made it weird or if the row was just weird for me, but it felt awkward to play. I sadly didn't draw an impact. I would, I think, be a little happier with impacts. But on closer look, I have drawn this hybrid war. And maybe that's actually not a bad option for me. It depends on how greedy he is now. I would have preferred impacts, I think, but maybe this hybrid war will still work out. He has drawn an impact of population already, which is always good for the ocean liner player. Maybe the timing was a little unlucky even for him. after his turn he would have 2 more population, which would be 4 more culture. And he just goes for the multimedia upgrades for free with the efficient upgrades. Takes the military theory in hand, urban growth, and endowment for the arts. And builds another theater. And yeah, so since there's still 2 more turns, he can also be safe with this reserves in hand to have enough rocks to build the fast food chains. Yeah, so ultimately it's not even that clear if it would have been bad for me if he finished the game, but it felt like it would. It felt like it was lost if he was able to win finish the game now. He would have practically the same turn, right? Just with 1 opera less, but then maybe extra reserves, and then next turn he finishes this, and this is better than this internet, which I wouldn't be able to build. Yeah, I had to not let him finish the game here. And yeah, by taking only 1 card was impossible for him. It was super close because it was only impossible for him because his hand was full. He couldn't take 4 cards here. He could take 3 cards. Yeah. And now I actually kind of have to go for this hybrid war, I think, because I have to make some value out of this. And at least I get Dietrich, I guess. Yes, I get Dietrich here. Take the reserves, take another reserves, and just build this phalanx. Sadly, I think if I had been very precise, maybe it would have been possible to build another unit here to set up for this exact scenario where I get the hybrid war. Yeah, then I could have fulfilled this tactic another time. Like this, I'm only at 21 strength. He can easily win this war with the military theory and building some units. But maybe I can then sacrifice and make the difference, the gap, very small, or actually then it's tight or something. In my calculations was then maybe worst case tight, more or less, and then with the hybrid war it's not that important, right? The effect of it would be, though, that he could not easily build his fast food chains. So it is a very annoying war for him in that regard. He was very greedy, and yeah, ultimately I think it was a very lucky draw, this hybrid war. Kept me in the game. Maybe some impacts would also keep me in the game, with the impact of science. It comes to mind, maybe not that many more. Maybe progress, but he will fix progress. There are some impacts that aren't that bad, but most impacts are good for him. So even with this war, I think I'm behind. He can maybe contest it, maybe win it closely, or he can maybe just ignore it and build the fast food chains and still be ahead. Still go for the architecture to save some civil actions, to be prepared for impacts. Maybe even I'm allowed to build another. I think with this architecture I can still go for another multimedia, which is in the deck still. Yes? Yeah. Take the modern infantry. Yeah, more or less away from him, but yeah, I think it's reasonable. I think it's better for him to just go for the military theory, but he could also maybe just go for the modern infantry, upgrade some units, very efficient population wise. So better than this Revadier that probably doesn't do anything for me last turn. My mom seeds and reveals the impact of architecture, and we see that I indeed lost out on it. It's then, after having seeded it, only 1 culture loss, but still. Yeah, but this impact of balance would have also been bad, so I could have, I think, if I had played the Impact of Balance, I could have made it good, actually. So in that regard, it was annoying. All of a sudden, upgrading this food becomes a very high culture play. If I have that Impact of Balance in all my rest is, I could have an 18 Impact of Balance versus something like 8. Yeah. I mean, it would cost something, but all of a sudden, it's very good to upgrade this mechanized agriculture. Like this, it was architecture. It was more or less obvious that he's going not to lose it, at least. And like this, he got 1 culture out of it. It's okay. He goes for Einstein. Takes the engineering in hand, plays military theory, and dispense some stuff. Can't even apparently build Pro Sport, or didn't want to. You couldn't. Yeah, that's very close. I see. Oh, I don't know. I can't calculate it all now, but now has 12. He needed all the rocks he had. Yeah, he couldn't develop military theory and engineering, and without the engineering, the urban growth's not enough to build this Pro Sport. Yeah, that's it. He lacked 1 rock for it, so he had to dispense some stuff. And as we see, he doesn't win the war. He doesn't contest to win it. And we see that I didn't draw anything here after my turn. Okay, but I spent all my MA. But I have still this aggression here. And what I decide to do is, first of all, sacrifice in the hybrid war, which gives 3 culture. The sacrifice itself gives 3 culture, and then the unit value on top of that's also 3 culture. Then it's a 9 culture play to sacrifice. Yeah, I gain 3 for sacrificing, and then 3 extra strength, which is worth 6 culture. So I do this, and then I plunder and sacrifice again for 3 culture. Yes, it makes Impact of Harmony horrible, but if we look at the game state, I think I have to pray that he doesn't have optimal or even bad impacts. If he doesn't have, he seeded some impacts, maybe all of those 3. And if he has good impacts there, then he wins definitely. And that means I have to gamble and create value here where I can, and have to hope that it's not optimal impacts. So we know that population is already gone. If he has harmony, he won anyway. His harmony is too good, so we cannot play around the harmony. So we sacrifice. And yeah, still enough rocks and civil actions to build the multimedia, actually. Same story here. Why do I spend this? It's horrible for Impact of Agriculture, but if he has... I mean, his agriculture, first of all, looks bad. 2 Impact of Agriculture, he doesn't have this 4 extra rocks. And just in the same vein, I think in one of my first iterations, I was like, yeah, okay, but agriculture, this is less impactful. Let's spend rocks. Then I still would at least gain those 4 extra culture with agriculture, but nah, I can't play around agriculture. Yeah, I think you get what I mean. Maybe I'm actually wrong here also, but I just decided not to try to be too broadly set up, but try to maximize other potential impacts. So I kept that for a possible industry, which he doesn't want to seed, but maybe he had to seed it, yeah? And then it's a little more gambly to play it like this, possibly. And I had to dispense something because I needed the population. I kept these for variety. Variety is very possible. Huh? I built the 21 culture internet here. It's not that impressive. and he seeds. And here, that was still his event, and I also forgot there was some considerations of maybe getting stronger and contesting possible politics of strength, or I have seen a lot of other strength events. I think politics of strength I didn't. And then the same idea, if it's a strength event, I probably lose anyway, and if it's a strength event, I lose more. So don't contest it. And it was a territory, and it was the vast autonomous territory, and I am able to win it. That is insane. I get the tactic bonus because of Dietrich, and I still have those 2 defense cards. And I just remembered not all the events were from Weidenbaum, not all the impacts. I did see an impact was the impact of government, which was already okay for me. After his military tier, I think it was more or less tight. But this is 3 extra culture for the impact of government. And I get 7 extra culture here out of nothing, more or less. Not something that I expected. I mean, I maybe hoped for a vast, for a historic territory. But yeah, and in all the autonomous territory, in the end it was it. And that actually changes things a bit, because all of a sudden I get 10 extra culture here. And he goes for, Weidenbaum in his last turn goes for engineering. He's very well prepared for almost all impacts here. Still can develop movies. Build something with the urban growth. Scores, what did he build? A temple? Yeah, made no difference, maybe. Second temple or upgrading this, both one culture. Everything is here as one culture, okay. Maybe it was the happiness more, even. Yeah, his fast food chains, 23 culture, so one is a bit better than mine. And in the end, we start with, what was it, 210 to... Yeah, now I'm 11 culture ahead, but it's 3 impacts still. There was a progress, so architecture turned out to be correct, not only in the regard that it allowed me to build another building. And there is an impact of industry by him, which gives me 3 culture here. It's still not clear at all who wins. And now it's 17 culture. After impact of government, which gave me, yeah, this autonomous gave me 3 extra culture for that. And I think even now, impact of harmony is probably barely not enough. What's the last impact? Impact of strength is a 10 culture impact. 8 more, yeah, he would harmony be enough? Yeah, of course harmony would be enough, because my harmony is 0. Yeah, with the impact of harmony, he would win. Impact of strength was not enough. And yeah, interestingly, also maybe luckily, I ended up first here. Absolutely not certain if I played this H3 correct. Some decisions were it was a very, as I said, awkward game. It didn't feel, some games feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing here, and it's super obvious that I'm doing the right things. And here, especially looking back at this replay, I'm very uncertain if I played this correctly. But in the end, it was enough to win, so probably I didn't do everything wrong. And yeah, was a very interesting game, very interesting finish, and my first win in the season. And maybe you hear it, I'm actually a bit exhausted from this replay analysis. I also then think I don't have anything left to say. Maybe I forget something, but yeah, I will try to cover all the games. Looking forward to see you in the next videos. Bye bye, guys.